Welcome back. Welcome to the One More K podcast, episode number 45. Good evening from California. My name is Marcus. Good morning to Bali. Hello, Ned.
It is good morning indeed. We're normally a little different times, but 7 a.m., bright and early. Good morning, Marcus.
And special guest on the show today, it is Ruairi Moynihan, all the way from Flagstaff, Arizona.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on the pod. I'm doing great. I don't know when this is coming out, but I'm watching the World Series, and I'm sporting my Yankees hat. It's part of my origin story a little bit and ties into Trail Gangstaz. But
we're going to have to cancel the podcast because I'm a Mets fan, Rory. We're going to have discussions here.
Yeah, right.
I'm a Mets fan, but look, given I'm a Mets fan and I don't know, you were 3-0 down before this recording. To be fair, I mean, look, I'm not going to put any hate on the Yanks because I'm a Mets fan, but gee, the Dodgers were giving you a good beating in the first few games.
Hey, yeah, that's okay. I'll admit it. You know, we're used to winning and we're getting spanked. So if we lose, we definitely deserve it. But I have a lot of friends who are Mets fans too, and they said they were at least rooting for the Yankees. I was just hoping it would be a little bit closer to make it more fun, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens indeed. Well, I do hope they win. The Subway Series would have been better. But anyway, Marcus, let's get back to trail running. Otherwise, we're screwed here.
You guys just mentioned a few words. I have no idea what it means. I do know, I think they're teams, but good for you. Let's bring it back to trail running. I think, Rory, you are a special guest because you have a different background than a few other of our guests. So I'm really happy to get you on the show and dive into a few topics. You are a coach, running coach, trail running coach, an athlete yourself. You're also the owner of a very big trail running meme account, Trail Gangstaz. Yes. And so we have a few things to talk about because the meme accounts are spreading and yours is growing so fast. And hence I thought, let's talk about later on the show about the meme accounts in trail running.
Yeah, I'd love to get into that because I haven't heard it dissected too much on the podcast yet. They've been referenced, but not really. You know, we don't always talk about the inner workings and who runs these accounts. I know I'm friends with some of the other big ones. So
yes, there's so much happening and we are curious individuals here. But let's start off with your race in Vietnam, because I think we got introduced via David Lloyd, who is, of course, been on the show and a good friend of the pod. You did race in Vietnam. How did you get around from Flagstaff to Vietnam? And what's the story behind that?
Yeah, shout out David, badass RD. He put us through something different out there. Tough course. But anyway, yeah, one of my other job titles, which you did mention, but we'll probably come up throughout, is that I'm a teacher. I used to be a secondary school teacher, high school level. I taught freshman English for a while, and I also coached cross country and track. And one of the jobs I got kind of linked in with over the years was this summer travel company. It's called Rustic Pathways, and they send me to different countries around the world. Usually they're called Rustic Pathways because they take kids off the beaten path. They're supposed to do like service work and see something that's kind of out of their comfort zone. So some of those locations include Southeast Asia. I was with a group of students in Thailand, and I'm like the program leader. I'm their chaperone. I'm like the native English speaker. And I always poke around if I'm in a new country. I'm like, what races are going on nearby? And, you know, Vietnam, of course, is a short flight away. And I'm like, hey, I haven't been to Vietnam yet, and I want to see what this race is like. I've done 100K races and some pretty tough ones at that. And honestly, it wasn't a great time in my training and an injury I had, but I knew I could at least finish it. And I signed up and definitely got more than I was expecting, but also in a good way, just meeting that running community there in Vietnam. And of course, linking up with David, the athletes he knows, and just had a great time too, most importantly. So yeah, that's how I ended up doing that race. And because of that, I shared photos and videos. And I have one friend now who's going to do that same 70K race this coming March because he saw that I had such a good time. So I think we could have a little Arizona-Vietnam connection going on.
How is it taking a group of, how old were the kids you took to Thailand?
They're typically high schoolers, but I have at middle school groups. It could be anywhere 12 to 18 years old.
How is it taking 17, 18-year-olds to Thailand and being their chaperone? That must be an interesting experience.
Yeah, it honestly depends on the group of students. Most are well behaved. There's always a few troublemakers. You just got to keep your eyes open. You're up late, making sure they don't sneak out. Honestly, it was not a great lead in to the race. I wasn't sleeping that well. We're busy with them. I'm out there in the hot sun doing service work too, trying to keep them motivated. So yeah, for the most part though, I will say the kids are they're out of their comfort zone. So sometimes they'll try silly stuff, but most of the time they're a little nervous, which is nice for me because I don't have to chase them down too much.
Nice. I mean, you're quite embedded in the whole Arizona running community, and also you're part of the Aravaipa crew, I believe. So how do you compare the races or the race in Vietnam to the one in the US in this case?
Yeah, right. That's good to point out. I'm on the Aravaipa racing team. And when I moved to Arizona after university, I kind of saw Aravaipa in its infancy. They're putting on fairly small races around 2012 to 2013. And, it was just like a tight-knit group of friends. Some of the races have been around for a while, but what I really saw in the last 5 to 10 years, as you guys have seen, just a huge explosion in popularity. And then some of these races got nationally known. Now some of them are internationally known, like the Javelina Jundred, Cocodona 250. And it was really cool to just kind of be part of that. And I'm friends with the founder, Jamil Curry, and just kind of seeing like how he grew that really inspired me. So I'd say comparing it to Vietnam, it seems like the early years over there, like the races are smaller, they're very tight knit, like fun environment. People are excited to get into the sport, and I can see them kind of catching up to where we are, hopefully, in the next 5 to 10 years. The competition's still very good at the top, maybe not as much depth. So I think it would be cool to get some, runners from the US and Europe to kind of race over there more often.
When you got there in 2012, I'm going to assume that the idea that a trail race series and a meme account was the furthest thing from yours and Jamil's mind. Is that right?
Yeah, there's a few aspects of humor related to it. I already had a YouTube channel, and we can get into that separately, but I always liked rap, and I would do these rap parodies about various topics, and I kind of decided I should do them about running because I think people in this running community would find it funny. I think Jamil had a YouTube account where he'd do funny videos too, like they'd pick up all the drop bags at a race. That was one of their earlier videos, and they would just eat whatever food was left over in the drop bag as a fun YouTube challenge, and some of their videos kind of went mini viral. So I was like, that's cool. Like, what could I do that's funny? And I linked in the rapping and running. So I do think you see a lot more fun content, but definitely there weren't as many meme accounts then. Memes have really taken off, but I think I was one of the earlier accounts doing like the YouTube stuff. So we got a little bit of traction, but it's really picked up in the last, I'd say, 3 years.
It must be a good combo because as everyone knows, I'm a massive Lads fan, been following Barkley forever. And I remember my first interaction with Jamil, not that I've met him, because you're not allowed to film at Barkley, but he filmed on the course. I remember he went out and he filmed, and I watched that and I was like, what's going on here? And in a funny kind of way, it was the first time I ever noticed Jamil because, I'm not in the US. I didn't know the running series, but it really gave me this sense that bit of content for some kind of old school guys like me was like, okay, wow, he's doing something super interesting here. As he built Aravaipa, was that a conscious part of it for him? Like, cause that Barkley thing was quite, certainly maybe it didn't go viral, but for a group of our old school guys, we really took notice.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been talented with the video stuff. I think we all kind of knew like more people should know about this. Like, and I think he just packaged it in such a nice way, and the video is so high quality and well edited that especially as social media became more a part of like how you share what you're doing as a runner, and you could argue Strava and all these running blogs are sharing it. I think that kind of just showed people like, wow, we can run these races and be in these cool locations. And now it's I got to give credit to those people who first got it started. So, and he was an inspiration to me as well.
We just had the Javelina Jundred race happening last weekend, and you will be on the ground, and I'm sure you saw some amazing action there. Take us through what you've seen. Who were you coaching? What was the conditions like? It was very hot. What was happening in Arizona?
Yeah, if you don't already know about it by now, I'd say Aravaipa's top races are probably, I don't know what order, but it's like Cocodona 250, which I mentioned. I'd say the Black Canyon 100K golden ticket race, and then Javelina 100K and 100 mile is also golden ticket race. I'd say that's probably their top three. Javelina Jundred is, it's probably close. I think it might be the oldest of those races. And it just is on this essentially like 20-mile loop out at McDowell Mountain Regional Park, just north of Phoenix. And basically it's turned into this kind of quirky party in the desert. But as I mentioned, their events start off small. It's really grown, and now you're getting top talent who want to get the golden tickets, and the times are just getting faster and faster. Being a running coach, I coached some people who were there, they weren't necessarily competing for the golden ticket, but they're competing to, one, finish it for the first time, or two, to get a PR. I'm currently injured, which could talk about separately, but I was there for my athletes, and it's still fun to they have this camp set up, and it's a loop race. You're always going to end up at what they call the headquarters, the big party spot. They have like a DJ, fire spitters, dancers, all kinds of stuff. And it was just a great time. And obviously, if you watched it, the winning performance by David Roche was impressive. And then I think Riley won the female race, Riley Brady, I believe. So,
yep. And well, two questions. Let's start with the party before the winners, because that's way more important. Is something that was just never really seen before in many races. Things are just too serious. I mean, people have fun at trail races, but I follow Javelina, and you watch some of the costumes. I'm like, oh my God, you're running a marathon in costume? These dudes are running 100 miles in the costume. So my first question, do people run 100 miles in that stuff?
Here's the deal. There's a one loop race, which is great. I've actually done that, being on the race team, and I've thought about doing the 100K. It hasn't fit into my training, but I think more people wear the crazier costumes for the one loop race. And some of them were wearing like light up butterfly wings for the whole time. They're flapping their wings. I will say the people up top, if you notice, they are wearing costumes, but they're probably going to wear something that's not going to mess with their, no chafing, obviously. Maybe some cat ears, animal print shirt, but it's like all cut up so it's breathable. I know there's one runner, or they might, when they come by the line, they'll put on a funny costume and then go back out there and race. But one guy, I did talk to him, Jake Jackson, if you know him. He's a pretty awesome runner. He does a lot of the longer races, and he wore like a man thong underneath his running shorts the whole time. He's a Squirrels nut butter athlete as well, an ultra athlete. And he revealed that on the last lap when he came into the finish.
Oh my God.
And in person, I'm like, you wore it the whole, he did the 100K, but he wore it for the entire 100K. And then took the running shorts off and, let it show.
That's the Jackass Night Trail, right? That's the one loop. It's called Jackass Night Trail. Is that right?
Jackass is the one loop race, which I've done. And then you got the 100K and 100 mile, which are typically more serious. But as you can tell, even that 100K runner was having a great time.
And did you notice, did David Roche consume 100 gels again like he did at Leadville? Did you see the gels getting slammed?
I saw him come through the headquarters. I didn't personally see how much he was forcing down. But yeah, that's definitely been, I'd say, a newer development, partially due to him and just other scientific findings that fueling more is helpful at the ultra distances.
I am no scientist. I'm a pretty random dude, but I have been trying, after reading like this, you could actually eat 100 gels in 15 hours like you did at Leadville. It just changed my perception. And I was like, yeah, fair enough. Like my Strava shows like use 400 an hour. I'm only taking in 200. Why don't I try 400? Now you have to practice because it's not easy putting that in, but I think this could be hey, Marcus, you run a gel company. This is great. Everyone's going to double order.
I was about to say, this is where he should jump in.
I'm remain quiet.
Carbs do you have again?
Yeah, it's. I mean, we've been testing with Ned our products, and it seems to fill them up quite a bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I did notice you go out for a run, you eat 500 calories an hour. You're not hungry at the end of the race. I'll tell you that for free. 100%, for no doubt about it. But maybe just as part of that, so I'd love to chat about your running, and then let's get onto your meme account. You're injured. Were you, and again, I don't know, Rory, your background. Did you ever want to be a pro athlete? Were you? What was your running story? Because you taught track, cross country. You're still a young man, but when you were a younger man, did you have dreams in your eyes?
Yeah, I just turned 35, so I'd say ultra running, still relatively young. Track and road, which is what my background is. I'm on the tail end of that, so I definitely wanted to be a pro runner. When I was in high school and looking to go to college, I went to a small Division III school in Minnesota. 1500 was actually my best event. So I had more of that. I did run a sub 4-minute 1500 meters. So
nice.
More of that speed on that end. And as I graduated college and moved to Arizona, like I said, I kind of saw what Aravaipa was doing with the trail scene. I was kind of intrigued by the trails, but I still had that track road background. So I started off with road marathons while I was kind of dabbling at the short trail distances with Aravaipa. So
what did you get? What did you get your road marathon down to?
I've gotten it down to 220.
What?
I was aiming to go for the Olympic trials, and I tried for a couple cycles and instances in both cases. They lower the time each window by a little bit, where I was probably 2 minutes off, but I kind of had this nagging Achilles and heel pain that really I think was the difference maker. Maybe I would have just missed it, but it definitely was holding me back and has actually prevented me from doing the longer trail races because it would just really act up. So ultimately, Hageland's deformity, it's a bone spur that a lot of runners have, and for some people, it's more painful than others, depending on its location and how it rubs against your shoe and how many miles you're doing. So basically, I finally decided to get surgery for that, which I got a little bit over a month ago. Pretty common surgery. I know actually most recently, for the person I talked to about it, he kind of was the final push. Not that I'm close friends with him, but I talked to Zach Miller when I was at Hard Rock 100, and I had sent him a DM via my account. I was just like, hey, I know you got Hageland's deformity surgery. How did it go? Do I need to get the best surgeon in the world? Can someone locally do it? What kind of things can I expect for recovery? And a lot of people might have missed that, but yeah, Zach Miller did the same procedure that I had the year before he got second at UTMB.
So you're going to get second at UTMB as well then?
I hope that's what I've been telling people. That's how it works, right?
You should have made that part. You should have made that a part of the guarantee on the surgery. I get surgery. I get second at UTMB. It's a done deal.
I got a lot of races I need to do before I get there, but I think that was a roadblock to me maybe trying I've raced some competitive 100K races like Canyons 100K, Black Canyon, but I don't think I was placing as high up as I thought I should have due to the injury. So I'll probably try those again and, maybe graduate to 100 mile. I'm going to take my time though and see how that goes.
Nice. All right. I like the term earlier used, dissecting meme accounts. So yeah. I thought, why don't you give us non-insiders a rough overview of this market ecosystem? What is going on? What has been going on? What is going on in this world of meme accounts? I know two. Yeah, boy, Scott Jurek, of course, and then yours. But yeah, give us a bit of a 30 feet perspective on this space.
Yeah, and I'll add a Aid Station Fireball to that because I got to shout out him. Awesome guy. I can't reveal his identity, but he's from Canada and we've met in person. Same with your boy, Scott Jurek. What's funny about those two, they're kind of anonymous. You don't really know who's behind it. And then I think the OG trail run meme account was ultra running memes, which I feel like probably got the biggest of those that we've mentioned so far in terms of followers. And I remember Ultra Running magazine, sharing their memes, or sometimes their memes would make it on the website, which I thought was really cool at that point, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And that account's inactive. So I considered myself more of a YouTube channel. I was kind of, like I mentioned, inspired by what Jamil was doing. I thought that was a bigger platform then. Now as social media has evolved, kind of the trick is you can still put your YouTube videos out there, but you need to have a version that goes on, right? TikTok, Instagram Reels, to get people to hopefully get to your YouTube channel, which that's, I think, a whole different story. I think YouTube's the hardest to get followers and subscribers. So what I found with Instagram, originally I just wanted it to share some of my videos, but I also put on events. I'm a race director. I've started a run club and we do kind of fun things in Flagstaff here, like meetups. We do beer miles. I like to do athlete spotlights of people from across the state because our state has so much talent. So I really thought of it more like that. But what I found is as memes got more popular, and I'd almost get a little bummed because I'd be like, I made this really nicely edited video. It took me hours to make. I think it's funny. It makes the race look cool. And it gets not that many views or shares. And then I'd see some meme account make some thing they slap together in 5 minutes, couple minutes, and it's getting hundreds of thousands of likes and shares. I'm just like, maybe I'll mix in a meme every week and it'll get people to look at the video once they see the meme. So that's essentially how I kind of morphed into, I'd say it's more primarily memes, but the hope is always that they'll look at the other stuff, like the athlete spotlights, what events I'm putting on, and definitely what I think is the anchor of my account, which I think is more unique, is my rap music videos about running.
Yeah, I mean, you've combined a lot of them together. So you started doing memes. And so I'm going to ask them, because we're a business trail running show, how does this turn in? So I'm actually on LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, I'm a Z-grade influencer. So I am at the very bottom of the tree, but I found a little way to monetize it in my own way. How do meme accounts monetize, or do they?
From what I've heard, unless you're like top tier, even very big ones, I don't necessarily think they're bringing home a ton of income. The way they're usually doing it, though, from my understanding, is Reels actually did this, maybe content creators know. They did this experimental thing like 3 years ago to catch up to TikTok, where you could monetize your Reels and you could get paid for very small amounts of views. So I was getting, maybe a couple hundred a month from Reels and just the views. But what they did in the last year or two is they upped the ante. Like, you have to get pretty much, like, from what I've seen, at least 100,000 views consistently on Reels. I think you have to have millions of views over the course of a few months to even get income from your Reels. So they're kind of just raising the bar. So I think smaller content creators are basically getting pennies for any kind of widely shared video from what I've seen.
You use it as the trigger to get them to your other money-making activities, race directing. Is that correct?
Yes. And then some memes you'll see, they'll have like a slide of their memes, and one of the middle ones is like a product they sell. It could be merch if they have kind of a distinct logo or some kind of personality associated with it, which I think Trail Gangstaz has a little bit. I'm wearing one of our merch items. Honestly, I'm really bad at like reminding people to buy merch, and I'm not a salesperson, but I have a store, and I get purchases, probably just enough purchases a month to keep my Shopify store open. I probably sell more at like events when I bring stuff, but most of that's housed in the online store. And honestly, I forget. I probably need a business person to like make my merch posts for me, because I don't like to sell stuff.
But your memes will get you running coaching clients, right? Or outside.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I found too. And I have a personal running account, but I think one advantage I might have over maybe your boy Scott Jurek or Aid Station Fireball is that I reveal who I am. Like, people know who I am. So I just, am available. You can link in with my personal account, or they know that since I'm the person behind it, they know I'm a runner and I coach athletes. So I will get a fair amount of DMs of athletes who are like, hey, I think your videos are funny, and I know you're like a pretty good runner and coach. Would you get me ready for this race? I saw you're at Javelina, and I know you had like a few athletes who were there. So I try to do kind of indirect advertising. I don't have too many posts where I say like, I'm a coach, get coached by me, I'll make you faster, just because that's not my style.
So Rory, I am a sales guy.
Oh yeah, maybe I need you.
Not selling here, but so I sell selling, right? I used to sell tech, now I sell sales coaching, all that crap.
Okay.
Once a week on LinkedIn, I do a running post. Just once a week, I do a running post, and I connect startups being brutally hard and ultra running being brutally hard. And I talk about, all that motivational shit. Don't stop. It's hard, whatever. I get way more interest in my sales courses from my running post than from my sales post. The best selling you can do, Rory, seriously, is doing great quality content that is not selling your product,
right,
your memes, your rap. Because I'm like, hold on, this dude runs 220 and he's cool. That's good enough for me, man. Because if you didn't run 220, obviously, not just you have to run 220, but that's what I'm interested in, because I think product marketing. And look, forgive me, Jim Walmsley, if you're listening to this, Jim, forgive me. We've trashed you before about that shocking film with Hoka, where it was just a product placement vomit fest. Anyway, I think doing what I would call was clever marketing, which is what you're doing. So you might not consider yourself a sales guy, but when I look through your accounts, I think that's super smart marketing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm sure, Marcus could jump into like the best way to, let people know about your services or product is something interesting, funny, tells the truth, shares unique insight. And I think people are so overloaded with like, use my discount code. I feel like I see a lot less runners using that outwardly because it's kind of annoying, or get coached by me. It's like you kind of have to come at it from a different angle. So maybe that's works better for you too with what you've seen with marketing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the worst marketeer probably, but I'm a pretty good sales guy as well. But I think I'm like a storyteller. I think that's really, I'm good at that. But like putting myself into your shoes now, like I wouldn't know what meme to create. I wouldn't know how to even start. Like, how do you pick a meme? How do you decide this is going to be the theme of the week? Or, I mean, I see that, of course, you pick up some recent stuff from whatever politics or whatever's in news right now. So that's obviously an easy one. But also there's some other random stuff which seems to go viral. So how do you plan your memes?
Yeah, that's a good question. What I think is cool is I'm friends with some of the meme accounts I've mentioned and some smaller ones. And I have friends, it's a big thing just to send reels to each other. So honestly, a lot of it's just kind of organic. And I have friends who send me funny stuff and they know I make memes. So they're like, hey, you should make this into a meme. So I just have all these little videos or screenshots saved. And I'm just like, I don't know what the caption is yet, but when it comes up, I'll know what to do. And let's say it's Javelina week, right? Javelina Jundred is a big race and it coincides with Halloween. So I'll try to think of themes for that. I write preview raps of certain races if it's a really big one, and that kind of dictates it. So once you get that framework, I guess a lot of content, people sort of have a schedule. I roughly do. On Mondays I'll try to do a race recap where I'm just highlighting the Arizona runners like I mentioned, and maybe people just below the pro level who aren't getting a shout out. I'll try to look for those, spend a lot of time on results. And then usually the other weekdays I'm doing memes. I like to do one on Thursday that's called like a throwback Thursday. So I really like old school hip hop, specifically like the 90s to 2000s. So I'll try to like take a portion of a music video and meme that and just have some kind of nostalgic memory triggered by that song on Thursday, which for me is a good lead into Freestyle Friday, which is the anchor. For me, that's the anchor of my account. Like I want to have a funny rap music video. I have enough over the years where I do one every single week. I'd say now I'm kind of at a pace where maybe there's two new ones per month. And eventually I'd like to honestly scale it back because it's a lot of creative energy and it takes a little bit too much time, to be honest, for how much I coach. And unfortunately, like I said, the memes get a lot of traction. And even though I like the reaction to my videos, it's like I can't spend 3 hours a week writing this rap, recording it, filming the video, editing it, and actually it probably takes more, probably like 5 to 8 hours for one video.
Wow.
So you just got to decide as a content creator where you need to trim the time you're spending. So
it is there's a content creator who has this phrase, likes ain't cash. And I really like that phrase. They're good dopamine. So we all want more likes, but you're right. Which one of what you're doing turns into more kind of direct messages, more, because sometimes you can get a lot of likes, but there's nothing from it. Does it sometimes? I think it does. You told us I use the phrase grinds your gears, that you get more likes on a meme account than you do, because I watched your rap. You're good, dude. Like you're good. Does it? But you're right. 5 to 8 hours. And even though that is the anchor, does it?
I think you guys might be able to test. I also came from, I was born in 1989, so I feel lucky where, the kids I teach now grew up exclusively with social media. So I still have this part of my mind where I like to have, no screen time. I try to take Sundays off where I will not do a post. It doesn't sound like much, but think about how much you check your phone. I'm like, all right, I'm not doing any Instagram post. I'll try not to check it. I probably still will on Sunday. Yeah, I'm just trying to think in that mindset where I guess I don't maybe get as caught up in the likes and numbers as maybe some of the younger content creators where that's the driver. I'm kind of just like, hey, a creative person. It's kind of like being a musician. You make your song, and if you like, honestly, the DMs or people meeting me in person at Javelina and saying, I like that one song you did, that really carries me and makes me think like it was worth making that video. That's worth way more than a reel that went Instagram viral.
Right. If you project the future, like where would you right now prioritize? Like, do you want to see the meme account growing? Do you want to see coaching business growing? Like, I'm trying to figure out your journey a bit, what's ahead of you, and also then where do you prioritize your time essentially?
Yeah, that's a great question. Memes are getting pretty easy, so I think I'll always create those as long as this thing keeps going and not too much mental energy there. So I'd probably do more quality videos with less frequency. I kind of like collabs. You were talking about how do you get paid from some of these. I made one video about whiskey. It's like a whiskey distillery in Kentucky. And I did it. It was like one of the first times I did an invoice for these rap music videos. And this wilderness distillery, they sent me some whiskey. And I'm friends with Jeff Browning here in the area, talented ultra runner, and he likes whiskey. So I was like, hey, can you? And I knew the guy who ran that account was a big trail runner, and I knew he liked and followed Jeff Browning. So I'm like, he's paying me to make a video. Let me get him a good collab. Jeff is a great guy. He loves whiskey. I was like, I'll give you a free bottle of whiskey if you just say a few lyrics in my video and drink whiskey. And that's one of like the bigger freestyle Fridays I've had. And I got paid a little sum for it. And I also got free whiskey. So that would be something I'd like to do for any businesses who want to collab. I have a few others in the works. I've done ones with Squirrel's Nut Butter and some other local businesses, but it'll be cool to go even a little bit bigger. So you might see one in the coming year, probably early next year, where I have something lined up, but that would be cool. And then I think coaching, I want to grow too. So if anyone's training and I think that's where I'm different than a trail ultra running coach, not all of them, with the exception of maybe someone more like David Roche has that like track road marathon crossover with trails. I guess you do have some. Sage Canaday, Hayden Hawks does have, the track road background. But anyway, I think I can stand out with my coaching services too.
Yeah, your collab thing's a great idea. That type, because I get coming back to marketing and sales, which is something I adore. Being different. Actually, Bronco Billy Jeff Browning was my coach for Backyard 2 years ago. So he's such a good dude, such a good dude. But he is such a believable collab guy because he's old like me. He's in amazing shape. He's winning races. When you've got some authenticity about you, I think brands go for that really well. Like you are, I'm going to say you're the only rap meme 220 guy on earth, right? Basically. You must be. Almost. I
do have a hashtag called I should use it more often, but it's fastest rapper alive.
So, by the way, here's a collab for you. So, do you know who Dave Proctor is? The Canadian backyard. He's a cross Canada record holder. He's good friends. Oh my God, I have to remember his name. With a fairly famous rap dude. And the reason I know that is when I did Backyard on my treadmill in 2020 during COVID, talking about a collab, this guy during it came on and rapped to us to keep us going on our Zoom, on our treadmills. And I'll find his name, like famous dude, not, I'm old, not Eminem. He's not the most famous dude anymore, but a famous dude. And it was like a collab. And we were told, you know what they did? They said, join this event because you'll get to listen to this famous rap dude on the show. And it was the first time I'd thought about collab. So I think that partnership approach, given you've got unique skills, makes a ton of sense.
Oh, that's incredible. That sounds really cool. I'd like to link in with them. I'm trying to think who it would be. There's a few rappers who I know talk about fitness or run a little bit.
Just to be clear, Rory, I don't want to cast any shade on this dude. This dude doesn't run. This dude's not a runner, dude. He was brought on he just sung us his big hit song, which I'm looking at my phone. I'll find it as we chat along.
Stick STIC of Dead Prez. Dead Prez, he is a runner and he has a few, I think, was it him? Maybe there's another rap group too. There's one, I thought it was him and another rapper. They did some little playlist for Nike Plus running back in the day when that was one of the, when they were doing their foot pod things, and they had a specific playlist you could listen to, and it was like songs about running, but they actually had, did some runs and group runs and races before. So they had credibility. So that was one of the few times I've seen a rapper who runs, but I'd say I'm still the fastest because they couldn't beat me. So I got both of those.
We haven't asked. Tell us your rap background. Tell us your music background, man. Like I want to hear it. What is your music rap story?
Yeah, that's why I referenced the hat could ultimately tie in, New York, birthplace of rap. I was born in New York City. I moved at a young age, so I don't consider myself a New Yorker truly. I'm more of like a Midwesterner because that's where I grew up. But I remember it at least influencing, like I always liked to watch the New York sports teams and I liked the music scene. And you sort of know where rappers are from. So of course I liked growing up, I liked Nas, Jay-Z, 50 Cent, the rappers associated with New York. And yeah, I just kind of was listening to it at a young age, like a lot of people maybe from my generation listened to it in the Walkman, mix CDs. And yeah, some other influences. I got to shout a couple others. Other ones that stand out would be like Ludacris. Kind of liked his, definitely Eminem, of course. Eminem's a given. Ludacris, Tech Nine, 3 6 Mafia. Those are kind of random ones I just have, for whatever reason, just some influence in how I like to rap and the kind of beats I like to rap on. So I was fairly shy in middle school and high school. And there's this, long story short, there's this talent show where you could like do a talent. Sorry, it was like, yeah, I guess it was just a talent show. And anyway, I performed a rap for my high school and people weren't really expecting it. And I came out in my Yankees jacket and Yankees hat. And I remember it being really important. Like some people would perform songs and they'd have the lyrics, but it's like, I need to memorize this rap. And I probably practiced it for months in front of the mirror to the beat, which is hard, which is a whole nother thing. Some rappers don't rap. They rap to their lyrics. They don't rap truly on an instrumental. So I had to get the breathing down right. And it just surprised a lot of my friends. And I think there was some African-American kids at my school who called me Eminem. And I just kind of remember that 10th grade, sort of an ego boost. I'm like, yeah, I got street cred with these guys. They said I can rap and they'd asked me to do little raps in the hallway. So I kept doing it and it extended into college when I made a YouTube account. It extended into teaching when my students found my YouTube account. So they'd be like, can you rap? And I'd say for the most part, high school students aren't always a judge of cool, but they wouldn't cringe or they didn't say it was bad. I got respect. So I think I'm good enough to keep doing it. And then eventually as I moved to Arizona, I was like, I can't rap about being a teacher. Let's do something different. And I was like, I can rap about running.
Nice. That's awesome.
So that's the backstory. Yeah.
I was just thinking, Ned, we have no music intro to One More K yet. Maybe we can do a collab with Ruairi to get a 20 seconds intro because he has just nothing
I'd
yet.
be down.
but you maybe should. So, and this is the other thing. I mean, I watch your raps, fantastic. Do you know who Harry Mack is?
Oh yeah, he's great.
Now, he's made a thing of that. He walks the streets of New York, puts these lyrics together, man. I mean, if you did that at a running race, I'm sure you've thought around that, because I have no idea if Harry Mack makes money from that, but he gets millions of views. You get the feeling he does, right?
Oh, he does. Yeah, I think he's figured out the YouTube route to making money, and he has so many views. And yeah, I'm sure he makes money on all platforms, and he has merch, and he does concerts too. So that's just another level. I totally respect that. And, we could get really nitpicky about hip hop and what's truly a freestyle. I say Freestyle Friday, and I've had people even comment on my videos. They're like, well, you clearly wrote that. That's not a freestyle. But a lot of rap fans know there's different versions, right? A freestyle is when there's an instrumental and you write something that wasn't originally intended for the beat or it's on a different topic. I can do Off the Dome is where you are trying to do what Harry Mack does, where you're truly coming up with it impromptu. I've done a few videos like that. I think I did one on a podcast a few years ago. I know we didn't have time to make this happen, but Instagram followers gave me words to rap about. And I didn't look at them until the podcast. I took them out of a hat and rapped on the spot. But I don't claim to be nowhere as good as Harry Mack. So it's very hard. And you kind of get in the loop and say the same thing. So I prefer to really write it, pick a topic. I literally have one song that's just about pooping yourself during a run, which sounds ridiculous, but I want to just write 16 bars on that topic and how funny and awkward and gross it is. And that's what I'll do.
So here we're going to do. So we have started this podcast on the first week of January this year. We're coming to 1 year soon. So why don't we do, we're going to give you some buzzwords or keywords of the 52 episodes of One More K, and then you can rap about it, and we'll pay some cash for it as well, and then we will play it probably in January. Yeah. That'd be cool.
Oh, for the previous year, right?
Yeah, so for 2024, it's been our first year of this podcast. So we're episode number 45.
Congrats on that, yeah.
Thank you. And we keep going until the 1,000. And so, yeah, I think I think it would be cool to have a little wrap summary of our podcast year. We'll get to this later. But I think just one more step back or one step zoom out is my take is currently in trail running, we're seeing, and Ned alluded to it earlier, a lot of pretty, I would say, mainstream content, videos, and on YouTube and on Instagram. They all look the same to me. Beautiful running and, challenges and whatnot. And you have this whole, of course, AI content coming where it's getting more and more important to tell authentic stories in an also authentic way. So let's say rapping is one way of doing it. But I feel pretty bored, I keep saying this, most of the time to the content I'm seeing because it's just always the same, whether it's pictures or whether it's videos. What's your take on that and plus this whole AI search content creation?
Yeah, man, don't get me started on those videos. They start with them making their coffee. They pour their coffee in the cup. They tie their running shoes on. I'm like, get out of here. I hate when the videos start.
Right.
No one films themselves putting their shoes. That's not actually how you get ready for a run. You roll out of bed, you're in pain. It's just all dramatized. So yeah, I think there's some good accounts out there who are doing it right, making unique content. Overall, it's good in that, for video producers, like the technology available is incredible. Everything I do is on my iPhone. You can make it happen that way. The editing services are great. I'm even kind of using the apps. Like I've used CapCut. It can do these like music video style effects that I'd used to have to do in After Effects with Final Cut Pro, if you know that. Or sorry, After Effects is the other one, Adobe. But like I'm doing it in a fraction of the time as those. So I think that's great to make the content quicker. The issue is like quality, like you said. And I think you just have to think of a different way to put a spin on it. And, there's people that are doing that effectively and others that aren't. My issue is more that maybe the algorithm is boosting ones that are generic so that certain ones, I think sometimes it works. The right ones get attention, but a lot of times it's the boring ones that keep getting the attention. So people see that and they just jump on the trend. I'm going to copy that, except do it for my run. And it's a cute runner influencer girl. And she's just, doing the same version of get ready for me for my run. So
It is. Yeah, look, Marcus. So I have my rants, which I won't get into because I'm being calm today. Iron Man is one of them, a range of other things. But Marcus's rant is these.
Well, you summoned this on with UTMB, right?
I come from Iron Man, and don't even get me started, dude.
Okay.
It's all right, man. It's right. It blows my brain. But Marcus's rant is the same with the content. Marcus is like, oh my God, tell me if there is a good running video. Look, you're a content creator. Obviously, you're a creative guy because you did rap. You are a creative guy. Do you think that is the essence of it? Like you have to have the DNA to be a creator. Otherwise, you're just going to turn out samey crap.
I don't know. I think it's just like a creative thread and some people have it and some people don't. And then you need a bit of luck to like make sure your content gets out there. So I think there's just like your favorite musicians. There's a lot of people that are like, this person's so good. They should be breaking through. Why aren't they? And I'd even argue, I think some of my stuff and other content I've seen, I think we should be doing better than we are. But I think there's some money behind it as well. So you can boost posts. And I think in a lot of cases, those people are paying money to get visibility as well that I just, one, don't have. And two, I don't want to like pay for it. I want to do it organically, but it's kind of a rigged system too, I guess.
I was just thinking as well, I see all of your posts have your Twitter, IG handle on it. So I was wondering, is there like stealing of memes going on or like copying without referencing or what's like the deal there?
God, I feel like there could be time to update some of the laws on that. I don't know what the deal is, but I kind of just emulating the other accounts, to be honest. And it makes sense, right? If someone shares your meme, that you want to just have some label like, hey, I came up with that idea. And some people like screenshot it. And if it's not on there, they can claim it's theirs. I don't think it happens too often, but it's just kind of a protective measure. But at the same time, I'm not going to lie. I don't get what the rules are on creative content, because if you look at every meme, I mean, it's just a slippery slope, right? I don't know. People are just grabbing it from everywhere and just modifying other meme accounts, and you just put a running twist on it. So that's where I think memes are a low-hanging fruit. And I do a lot, but I don't think it's my favorite thing that I make, because I think the brain power of video skits are awesome, or like a funny song is way higher level than a meme, way higher.
Sometimes, like processed food, you got to sell what people want, even if it's not what they should have, right?
Right. And then one thing I just want to at least make sure we reference, I don't want to get into the controversies themselves, but I do think it's one thing that I like that the running meme accounts are doing, and I shout them out. Like, we're kind of breaking some of the news, or like making some of the parts of that we've been complaining about with like the, running brands kind of selling out or caring about profit. I've seen it in a few cases where we put UTMB on blast. We put Spring Energy on blast. There's companies doing the same thing. And, recently, I won't name the person, but the Wikipedia scandal, we've just kind of been breaking news and letting people know, like, hey, this is not cool. And when you add humor, I think it's an effective way to sometimes tear down, walls or things that are just not good for the running community.
It is. I think it's crucial too. And again, I'm not going to rant about Iron Man, but when Iron Man changed from soulful to profit, there was because that was 10 years ago, there was no really humor way to do it. And it was just quite angst ridden, right? And, everyone's like, oh, they suck. But he didn't really do it in a good way. And I really agree. Look, I love humor, Ruairi. Like, I'm a massive fan. I think if you can do it in a way that is, making clear your views, but doing it in a way that shows what you feel with humor, I mean, that's the best way.
Famous examples in history of satire doing that effectively. So even though people can also dismiss meme counts, like, oh, it's not that important. Yeah, I think we're doing an important service. We keep I think some of the running brands are actually scared of the counts too. They're like, I can't do this because I will get called out.
Look, do you remember, this is getting off track a bit, KFC in the UK ran out of chicken. So they now are normally corporate, like they literally, KFC ran out of chicken. And normally they would put out some BS about, oh, we're very sorry, corporate policy doesn't allow us to, blah, 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 blah. And people were angry because, hell, people need the KFC. So they just mocked up, they did an advert of a chicken bucket, and it said, instead of KFC, they changed it to FCK. We messed up. And that was it. It just said FCK, sorry, we messed up. And they sold way more chicken afterwards, because they made fun of themselves for messing up, because the other accounts were like, oh, KFC sucks. And they turned it around. Can you imagine if some of the angst, whether it's UTMB or Iron Man, they made fun of themselves? Like if they, a collab would be getting to you and your boy Scott Jurek. And, when that whole Gary thing went down with Wham, they should have come to you guys and gone, okay, look, we messed. Let's make fun of ourselves. The community would have forgiven them in a heartbeat.
That's a great point for those running brand marketing teams. Yeah, you just got to keep it real. If you're authentic, people are going to respect that. Even with like the other controversy where just say, hey, I messed up. I did this. I'm sorry I did it. People, are willing to forgive others.
They really are. And, okay. I mean, can you imagine the UTMB collab? Whenever they do something people don't like, Ruairi comes out with a cool rap. I mean, man. That'll make, you're already trail famous. That'll make you extra famous, dude.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't want to be a sellout either. I'd have to see what their price was. I don't know if I could do it.
This is great. I really enjoy this. We're coming up on time. I'm very excited. It seems like you did write some bars for us.
Yeah, I got a little performance. Again, I'll clarify for those hip-hop heads. Man, I'm still recovering from Javelina weekend. Whether you're running or spectating, there's a lot of drinks flowing out there. So I don't think I could give a true off-the-dome freestyle today, but I'll perform some bars of something I've done previously, and I'm guessing a lot of your audience might be new and they haven't heard anything. So
it is indeed the first time on the One More K podcast to hear any rap, and it's kind of... We have already this artsy side where Ned is sharing his ultra poetry. So that's already always at the end of every podcast now. So for the first time in One More K history, we're going to hear a rap from the one and only Ruairi.
Let's do it. And how about this? Obviously, we're going to edit this out. I'll record. I have my speaker here, so I'm not sure how the sound's going to go. What I could do is I could record a backup afterwards too, and you can use it and mix and match.
Go for it.
We'll see how it sounds, right? For the most part, I think it's worked. I did a rap for the Cocodona live stream the last couple of years, and we did it this way. So, yeah, I even got some background vocals for the chorus. So this one's pretty cool. I wrote it, I think, last year. It's called I Like Running. You might recognize the beat. Let me see if I can get both going here. This could also be tricky. Sorry, guys. I might need to... Can you guys hear me? All right.
Yep. All good.
Yeah.
All right. Speaker, laptop, and phone. All right. Check it. Ready? Can you hear it all right? Okay. I like running. Okay. I gotta wait for the... Here's where it drops in. Let's take some back. Check. Yo. I like running, I like green. Something's wrong inside my brain. The way I train is quite insane. You and I are not the same. I've run since Pampers, it's not a phase. Yeah, I keep it 100 like a mandrake glaze. Not a smoker, but I'm known to blaze. I trail by you, check your Strava page. I make it look easy as I coast by. They all want to know who I'm coached by. They tell me slow down, but I ain't most guys. You can't fill these shoes because I goat size. I sign up for races like a lunatic. I even ask myself why I'm doing this. Is this a hobby or an affliction? A whole lot of miles my prescription. I like running, I like pain. Something's wrong inside my brain. The way I train is quite insane. You and I are not the same. There we go.
Yes.
Nice.
Rory, that was gold. Man, my shoe size is goat size. Dude, that was so
That's cool.
good.
Thanks, man. Yeah. I like those bars.
That was really nice, man. I love that. And the tune that when Eminem and Dido came out with that song, that was the first kind of crossover from Eminem's into Dido, the pop star stuff. I mean, that's a killer tune.
Had to weave it together for you, right?
Nice.
So
nice.
Yeah, hopefully
man.
you can chop that one up for the Instagram and all that.
Yeah, I will tell my editor to get it all together and send it to you. That's cool. Wow, yeah, that's a first. No pressure, Ned. Maybe you should also rap your poetry in the future, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I have my little drop. Marcus? Are we going 2 times of poetry, or shall I save it for the next one?
Up to you. I did request, however, that you at some point will use your Scottish accent to drop your poetry.
No, I don't know if I can do that. You know, Rory's got the actual Scottish name. I'm just pretend.
Up to you. I'm cool with an open mic, so I'd be happy to hear you spit something, drop some bars. Otherwise, we can collab in the future. Whatever you want.
Let's do it, man. I'll do it. So basically, I write in pretty short form type of stuff. So I've always written kind of just very short lines type of stuff. And it became Marcus's idea. Ned, you can write a little bit of poetry for that. So I've done 45 different ones. So anyway, this one, I'm just going to go for it. This one is called Age. It's partly because, Rory, I'm getting old, but I'm still getting things done. So this is a reference to when I was younger, what I thought old would be. This one's called Age. You don't stop because you get old. You get old because you stop. I used to think 50 was ancient, that old people would crawl, not run. 6 minutes per K? Is that walking? I used to think. My younger self would inwardly laugh as I skip along at sub 4, sub 5. Is sub 6 per K even running? It won't happen to me. I'll be young forever. Then it didn't happen. Somehow I got old, but not slow, but slow. 6 minutes became sprinting, but there was no issue because I have an old runner's superpower. I have a missing thing. I have lost almost most of my ego. I don't mind being last. I don't worry what others think. I skip along like a turtle with a cane and a smile in a way my younger self never could have. Tick-tock goes the clock. Old I get, slower I get, yet somehow better I get. Better at running, better at life, better at being a human, not sure, just somehow better. Indeed, I just won a race with my ego. I won it as my ego no longer mattered. I was the slowest person on the day. I can run free forever. Imagine me at 80. I will be the fastest, slowest turtle you've ever seen. Young people, you have no idea. Getting old is the greatest running gift ever. Get out there. Ned.
Nice.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thank you, man. I
like the line about, getting older. You can't stop, right? That's what makes you old, is if you just stop doing something.
And this is, so my dad is 88. He still races 5Ks. And the other day in Scotland, Rory, we went for a 24K walk in the hills with my dad, and he's 88.
Incredible. I mean, could he almost get some national records just by showing up? And
well, so you know what park run is? Do you know park runs? So for a while, okay, we cannot end with a rant, but just the tiniest little, because I haven't had a real rant today. Park Run have scrapped age group records on their website. So they no longer show age group records because apparently it's not nice for people to lose. I mean, don't even get me going. And my dad used to win all the 85 to 89 park run. He used to hold the record, and he used to travel around Scotland winning them because he was the only dude that showed up, right? He could run maybe 38, 42 minutes for 5K. It's totally fine, right?
You're out there doing it, yeah.
And so he had 7 age group records, 85 to 89. So yes, to your question, can my dad just rock up and get it done because he's 88 and he's about to get into the 90s category? I'll tell you this, man. He stopped running park run when he realized, because he's a competitive dude like me, he stopped running park run. He's like, I don't get to win my age group. Well, screw these dudes. So he stopped. So to your question, can he? Yes. Does he anymore? No, but he still gets out there.
I agree. I mean, some people get too much into the data numbers, but that's just a very basic thing. You want to always compare yourself against people, especially in your age bracket, because you said the goalposts move, and you want to see how you're stacking up.
Anyway, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on, man. Love that rap. Love your story. I'll find who that rapper is and send it to you, because honestly, he's a pretty famous dude. I just can't get it in my brain right now. But again, he's not a runner, but he's happy to be on running stuff. And
okay.
I'll see if I can connect you. Okay.
Yeah, that would be cool. I see some future collabs in the works, so looking forward to it.
Thanks, guys. This has been great. Thanks, everyone, of course, out there listening to the One More K podcast. One more episode is in the books. Subscribe, follow Trail Gangstaz, follow Rory on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok as well, actually. We didn't talk about that much, but you're also on TikTok. And otherwise, reach out and do collabs. Let's build a great world together where running is great, even if you're old, especially when you're old. So thanks, everyone, and peace out.
See you, everybody. Take care.